saw hatred, judgment, haughtiness, degrading of women, and sarcasm. Oh, and the scripture lady. How can you begin with scripture when you attack people? How does that fit into Christian values? Her big thing was giving power to Mr. Van Matry. She should have provided more information. The board gave Mr. Van Matry the authority to hire staff when a need occurred. This is very common and can be seen in many districts. Boards do this to help address an issue quickly when a problem arises. And the board cannot meet, Miss Scripture Ladies wanted to make it look like there was something sinister. She was so proud of herself, she scolded and judged the actions of people who have given long hours, extra effort, and total commitment to kids. Shame on her, shame on people who are just downright mean. We are going to lose Mr. Van Matry. I hope not. All you have to do is go back 10 years. And a lot of people don't understand what it was like 10 years ago. But the few that were here, we do remember, and we do not want to go back to that. We haven't always had the leadership we currently have. Leading our district, perfect, he is not. Nobody's perfect. And that's what gets me, is when imperfect people judge people. I will not stand for that. He does make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Possibly, he can be passionately forceful about protecting children, educating them, providing every opportunity for their growth. He defends his staff. He defends his staff fiercely. When and if we do something wrong, he can come down hard on us. But he has never been unfair. He also makes decisions sometimes what we may not agree with or understand. One or two staff have been secretly bashing him because they have not been promoted to a higher position. We know who they are and how they are stroking these zealots.
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 That one.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. Thank you. Mr. Van Matry lives his mantra that he will never put the comfort of adults before the welfare of children. He brought back so much pride to our facilities, our staff, our children, our campus leaders. He is not afraid to make decisions that may be unpopular, but are the right thing to do. Again, he's not perfect, but his intentions are. His actions are not perfect, but pretty damn close to it. To the public forum speakers, you win. It is my expectation and prediction that he will be gone shortly. He doesn't need us, but we need him. We do. He instead wanted to work here. He wanted to create a district that we could all be proud of, mostly for our kids. Live with our actions, live with the acknowledgement, with the knowledge that you ran off a superintendent that loved our Fremont kids, has committed to excellence every moment he was there. Teachers get ready to lose stipends, performance pay, incentive pay, and so much more. While I do not like anonymous letters, I cannot and will not sign my name on this letter. But I'll stop it there. And I will say it, and I said it before, nobody's perfect. 10 years ago, we couldn't pay people to be on this board. When the school was doing bad, nobody wanted to be. I ran opposed twice because nobody wanted. I didn't even want to be here at the time because we lost 3 or 4 board members because of the stress of having to be here, knowing that we were going to get shut down. We went from 2 million in the hole to 5 million in the black. We went from 350 kids to almost 750 kids. Our grades are through the roof. And now we got people wanting to judge us. We get those same people that judge us. I didn't see their names running for school board. And I will not allow anybody to judge us because nobody here signed up to be a perfect board member. Mr. Van Matry did not sign up to be a perfect superintendent. He's doing the best job and by all means, he's doing one of the best jobs in the state. And for people to come and bash him, no, it's not gonna happen. And y'all were lucky that I wasn't here last month, because you would not have gotten as far as you did. I will not stand for you to belittle anybody who is trying so hard to do the best job that he possibly can. And with that said, Mr. Dimitri, do you have anything?
No, sir.
I'd like to say something.
Is your name Christian Munoz?
No, it's not, but I'm
Okay,
still
wait.
gonna say, no,
Ma'am?
you wait.
Ma'am?
To everybody, I know all of y'all are teachers, and
Ma'am,
we so
I'm gonna
thank
tell you
y'all
right
very
now,
much.
you got 1 minute.
We have nothing bad to say about you all. This is not about people being perfect or
I've already said
imperfect.
it. You
And
will
I
have
just
your
wanna
time.
let you all know
You
something.
will have your time.
That you are causing,
You will have your time.
no,
You will
because
have your
you
time.
are
You will have your time.
mishandling
You will
the
have your
words
time.
that are being said.
Mr. Bennett.
You are.
Can
You are.
No,
Can you
that's- we're
control
talking
it?
about freedom of
We're
speech.
we're
control
talking
it.
about
Well,
freedom of
you're
speech.
gonna have your
No,
time.
we
but
just asked
not right now.
questions and then
You're
people
gonna
got
have your
offended.
time. Just not
People
right
got
now.
offended.
You're gonna have your time.
People
Just
got
not right now.
offended. We just
When you
asked
said that wouldn't happen when
questions.
you were here, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about right now, being out of control. We're gonna go
Nobody's
down
out of
the list
control.
here.
We're all adults and we're having
Okay.
a conversation,
Okay,
sir.
okay, well then, listen. Listen. That's all you gotta do. Wait your turn.
We didn't get a chance to put our name on there, sir.
Okay, well then.
Can I
wait
put my
un-
name on
wait-
there right
wait
now?
until- You know what, yes, put your name on here.
Okay, good. Thank you.
But wait, you wait until all these people have talked, and then you
Okay,
get your name,
thank
okay?
you.
fine.
That's fine.
That's
Thank
fine.
you, sir.
That's fine.
Christian Munoz,
That's me.
go ahead, ma'am, you got 5 minutes.
Hi, good evening. I am one of the people who addressed the board last time. I find it incredibly disrespectful to have a letter written that's mostly about me at the beginning.
I don't know who
And
it's about, I don't know who it's about.
I was the first one to speak last time. I find it incredibly disrespectful to have a letter read that is mostly about me at the beginning of it and the person won't sign their name. That is not courageous by you or by them as the person. I didn't come here to address that. I came here to address the SHAC committee that you guys have on your agenda today. I would love to read the rest of what I had for last time, but I don't, because it's more important. I emailed each and every one of you, the email that you have in front of you, and it's been at least 2-3 weeks ago. I emailed each and every one of you about SHAC committee. If I handed it to Brandy, you guys handed it out.
Oh, shoot.
That said, what I emailed was how it's supposed to be structured and how it's from the SHAC handbook, which I read cover to cover. No disrespect, Mr. Van Matry, in this comment, but I find it that you guys are not doing your duty as board members. Whenever you ask Mr. Van Matry to bring you 10 people, whenever SHAC is designated to be a committee of people from the community. Mr. Van Matry does not live in our community. Yes, he wants what's best for the kids, and I know you do too. But a student health organization that is supposed to be driven by parents and community members who have differing opinions, who come together and help craft policy to be recommended to the board, should not be given by one person. Each one of you should be bringing somebody you think should be on it. And that said, I like myself, I'm an elected official here in Fremont, and all I can tell you is that if I get an email or if somebody approaches me, I make the time to listen to them, I respond. And it is very disappointing that not one person, short of Mr. Van Matry, who did respond, not one person bothered to reach out at all.
I will apologize, I'm sorry, I don't think I've answered one email today.
Well, that might be something to consider.
I'm so sorry. It's like
It
I
was,
said.
Joanne got hers on her, I had to send it on Facebook for her, because it was rejected, but it went through on every other one.
Like I said,
It went through on
I do
everybody
apologize
except for one.
because other than being board members, we also have personal lives.
Oh, I know,
And
I get it.
We get bombarded with our personal life, then we get our professional life. So it's
I
a lot.
more than-
That's why I'm saying, being a board member, it's not easy.
Being on council, I more than
Yes,
understand.
well, then you understand that, nobody.
But my big point, you just read a letter, I would never read something like that at council, ever. and not be able to name somebody who sent it. If somebody wants me to read something, they better be able to sign their name to it. You bashed me first, and the information about me at the beginning
I don't know
isn't
who it's
even
about.
accurate.
I don't know who it's about, but I
I
just
was
read
the
it
first
because I read it because we don't live in a perfect world, and I don't want.
I didn't even go to school in Fremont, and it says that I was a Fremont student.
Oh no, then it wasn't about you then.
Oh, it was,
No, it
because I was
wasn't.
the first person to
Believe
speak.
me,
No.
believe me, it wasn't
It
about
said
you.
he. It said
wasn't.
he.
I know who it was about, and it wasn't about you.
It was
So-
about
Just be
the
careful
person
pointing
Yeah.
fingers, because you don't want them pointed back at you.
Well, I'm not.
You
the
don't.
one-
I'm
not-
saying,
I'm
it's
not the
very
one that
ugly.
said it was about.
You read a letter that nobody would
Yes,
sign.
but you were the one that said it was about you, and it
I'm-
wasn't.
He
It
chose
wasn't
to
about
read
you.
it.
It was about the video that.
He chose to read the letter, and the letter that nobody will sign is a letter that shouldn't be read in front of everybody. Especially whenever it's pointing fingers and calling names.
Well, like.
I was called a name.
I get called
was
names
made-
all the
I was
time,
made
but
like I was ignorant, because I wasn't a man. That is annoying.
And that was said to
And
us
that was
last
said
time.
to the board.
I was here and that wasn't the way it was worded. If you go back and listen to
But
it,
it was
wasn't
implied.
worded that way.
And I can take it how I want, and that's how it
You
was
may take it how
implied.
you want, you are right.
Okay, we still got 2 minutes.
I'm done with my comments.
Mr. Waterhouse?
Yes, sir.
You got
Mr.
5
President,
minutes, sir.
board members, I won't take the 5 minutes. I did hear about the last board meeting and was upset because it's almost like we're gonna have a relapse here and go back to the way things used to be when it was destructive and name calling and did not keep the eye of the board and the superintendent and the public on the ball, which was the betterment of children. Okay? All of us have faults, as you've said, but one of Mr. Van Matrich's faults is not disregarding the needs of children. The education business is a tough business. You're always short of everything. Time, money, assets. It's a tough business. It's not one that people enter into for the money. They enter into it for the love of kids and for the love of community, I hope. Think back a few years, think back about what kids in Fremont deserved and didn't have that they now have. You only need to look to one place as to what the difference is. And I will leave it at that. Finally, I would say, please don't go back to the old ways. Nothing ever gets accomplished when people are bickering, on the board, off the board, with the public. Think about kids, think about what's been done, think about what's going to be done. This district is the envy of the region. The absolute envy of the region. If the man decided to leave, he would get calls tonight for a next job. There's a reason for that. Okay? There's a reason, and it's based in performance. The last thing I would say after listening to what took place last time is the First Amendment does not provide protection to slander or libel. Okay? And there are board policies and procedures that say who can speak, how long they can speak, and it talks about conduct. TEA talks about conduct. This board's always been professional. The public that has interacted with the board has always been professional. I would hope that they would return to those ways. Thank you, board.
Thank you, sir. Miss Kathy Russell?
Hi. When I told my husband I was coming to speak today, he just warned me to don't say something that I would regret. But he's not a misogynist, so he didn't tell me don't speak. He just said to be nice. And I want to say, I could have written that letter. I did not. I wish I had. It was my intention last week to sign up to speak. and I was in my office, and I lost track of time, and I didn't get here. But if I would've spoke, the majority of what was in that letter would've been things that I was gonna say, except I don't know if the superintendent will be leaving. And from one outsider to another, I've been here for 21 years, and I still get called an outsider. I'm a transplant, is what I was told on Facebook in February. I am a transplant, but I came here because of my husband. But this is my home, this is my community, this is my job. I love this place. It has become one of the best school districts, and it is because of our superintendent. Do I always agree with everything that he has to do and say? No. Do I always agree? No. But that's the beauty of it. He doesn't have to come to Kathy Russell and ask her, what do you think? Do you think I should do this? Well, I'm not gonna do it because Kathy Russell doesn't want me to do it. He has to think about his 100+ employees, and he has to think about his 700+ students. Not just from Fremont, but from Freer and from Falfurrias and wherever else the res is. He can't make his decisions based on 20, 25, 30 kids out of the district. He has to follow the law. He's following the law. I mean, if we lose him, I don't know what we're gonna do. But would I wanna stay and be bashed? I don't know that I would. I have a lot of other things, but I'm just my heart is just pounding right now. But I do, from one outsider to another, I think he's doing a great job. I think y'all are doing a great job. I would not want to be in your place. And I wish the negativity and all this would stop. You have to think about the majority of our children, not a select few. Make your decisions based on what's good for the students of Fremont ISD. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Ms. Mr. Joe?
Good evening, board. I've been here for 7 years. The board's hired me twice, and within those 2 hires, I was able to build a career and pat myself in the district that I love to work. I've learned countless knowledge from the board, District Admin Dr. Gonzalez, and as you can see, our wonderful staff. I remember coming to Fremont and thinking it was pure suicide because I had 1 textbook to work with. But the board, and the ex-board members as well, persevered and we worked together as a team. I was concerned last month when the superintendent was viciously attacked. I understand that we're allowed to bring concerns that may affect performance or safety, but we don't attack in public. We should have more grace and elegance than to attack someone in public, knowing that that individual cannot defend himself because of protocols. I have the staff here, and I'm blessed to have this wonderful staff, because it's scary, folks, when we have star teachers, I'm not saying star test, star, that may walk. Because in their words, if the school board did not stand up and stop the attack that night, what makes them think that if they're attacked, they're gonna get that support? It is my job to protect the students, and as Mr. Van McCree taught me 3 years ago, safety always comes before instruction, and never put the comfort of adults in front of children. But it's my job to ensure that it occurs on our campus. And it's our job to ensure that the students and the staff, it's the superintendent's job to make sure and to protect student, staff, and the principals. And it's the school board's responsibility to support the superintendent and district staff from being attacked. I'm not trying to attack you in any way. A lot of you grow me. I remember sitting there 6 years ago and breaking protocols, speaking out loud, and I wasn't supposed to. I didn't, Mr. Abigail, put me aside and said you can't do that. But what I'm trying to say is, people weren't happy 6 years ago because we had one textbook, and now there's people still unhappy, even though we are the best district in the region, in Providence, South Texas. And people are still unhappy. And my concern is, and our concern is, do you agree with me, that we're gonna lose a visionary because there's a few people who are unhappy. As a religious individual, and I pray the rosary, it baffles me when scripture's read and hate is spewed out. It's hard to understand when there's so much hate. There's so much hate in the world, and now it's coming to our district. Instead of debating, we should congregate and talk about what we need to do to ensure the safety of all, not just the adults. And so with that said, thank you for coaching me for 6 years. Thank you for supporting our staff. And I hope that if this continues, that next time the individual is stopped. Because it is not right to embarrass someone who has worked tremendously hard. There's been times that I've left graduation practice or graduate ceremonies, and Mr. Van Matrix went into his office at 10:30. And then he drives to Corpus at 12. Those are the things that people seem to forget. So again, thank you for hearing me, and staff, thank you for supporting not only your principal, but your superintendent. We are here for the children, and no matter what obstacles we face, we need to continue moving forward. People that don't know what's going on, that's ignorance. So again, thank you. And Mr. Van Matrix, thank you for being the greatest mentor to me.
Go to sign your name, you have 5 minutes.
You give me 5 minutes?
Yeah. Go ahead, Ms. Pettis.
Okay, first of all, I just would like to say this. The last time that we were here, a lot was said, but what a lot of you all don't know is that for almost a year and a half, we had been going to Mr. Van Matrix personally, talking to him about a lot of concerns. Personally, we did that. We did it in a separate, private way.
Come stand over here, Ms. Pettis, so we can all hear you.
We said, I'm fine here.
No, but we can all hear you. We
Okay,
can't hear
I'll
you.
speak louder then.
Okay.
Do I start all over again? Cause I missed about 3. Okay. So, a lot of us don't know this, a lot of you don't know this, but we had already been speaking to you, and you know that, for almost a year and a half, about
Okay.
a lot of
You can't
concerns.
point?
Okay, oh my goodness, are you serious?
Yes, I'm very serious. You can't point.
Why? Where does it say
Go
in
ahead.
any policy that we can't point?
You want me to read it to you?
Go ahead.
Anyway, so, we've been going to Mr. Van Matrix personally, privately, talking to him about a lot of concerns, okay? There's a lot of other concerns, but I don't have that much time. And I'd like to say this to the teachers. We appreciate what you all do, but I want you to look at it in a parent's, point of view too. First, I'm gonna address Mr. Trevino. Last year, I was in the office with Mr. Trevino and.
Ms. Pettis, I'm gonna tell you one more time, do not point.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
And you cannot address anybody by name.
Okay, well, we had already been talking with your other staff, like the principal and staff. Here we're talking about name calling, but I was in Mr. Trevino's office and that Mr. Trevino called the parents that he would not open the school because he didn't want herds of parents in the school. I want y'all to know why it got to the point of us parents exploding, okay? Us 3. There was a lot of reason why we exploded the way we did. We had already been addressing a lot of things in private. We were not being heard. We weren't being heard. And you know what? No one is perfect. You're right. You're right. No one is perfect. But as a parent, I was very upset because my child spent 3 years in special ed. They had all ages in special ed, and while they were in special ed, I'm gonna say it like this, they were crammed in one tiny room with disabilities. So, you wanna talk about caring about kids? Let's just talk about the disabled first. That's why I was very upset, still upset about it. No one hears us. I think the only one that's ever called me back and had courtesy to call me back is Mr. Fred Gutierrez. Courtesy, out of courtesy. And I voiced about my child being in special ed for 3 years. And in those 3 years, he was crammed in one class with a lot of children with disabilities. All kinds of disabilities. One teacher, one certified teacher for a whole lot of kids. Did he learn something in 3 years? Very minimal. What I learned was when he would come home and explain to me about the disabilities of other children, because that's what he saw. There was constant disrupting because of their disabilities. And my child is in 6th grade now, does not know how to do timetables. He struggles with his learning. I got him out, and I thanked the principal in high school, pulled him out. I didn't want him to be in that class anymore. We needed to do something different. Why did I explode? And I'm gonna address you, Mr. Rios. I'm gonna tell you why. Because as a parent, I don't know if you have children or not.
Yes, I got
But
2.
as a parent.
Everybody here is a
Okay,
parent.
but as a parent, when a parent is not being heard about the disabilities of their child, it gets frustrating. So we didn't just come out of the corner one day and decide, let me go to this board meeting and just explode because we feel like it, because we're not those kind of people. We had already been talking things over with the superintendent. You know what? Nobody is taking anything away from you all for the things that you've done, or him. Nobody's taking that away. We see the good things that have happened. But when you do to the most disabled children in the district were treated, and I'm gonna say for 3 years because my son was in that class for 3 years, in the manner that they were treated. If you all think as educators it's okay for that, it's not. To have one person teaching all these children with these disabilities that they have, that's unjust. I'm sorry, it is. And I'm sorry, it is.
Thank you, Ms. Pettis. Ready? Mr. Pettis, go ahead, Mr. Pettis.
All right, real quickly for your knowledge, so you all know, my name is Robert Pettis, and the pastor y'all were talking about in that letter, that was me. I live on 708 South Baxter, if you wanna know. We have a right to come in here and speak and ask questions, but you do not have a right to go into my personal life and try to find out things about me. You do not have a right to do that, to say that you have a bone to pick with me, to try to, I guess, scare me. I have a right to come in here and speak. I want you to remember the name Nathan Pettis and all the kids in his class. But I specifically speak this afternoon, on my son. My wife is right. We did address Mr. Van Mitri about issues in the class, Mr. Trevino. Nothing was done. And when I spoke the other day, it was a numbers deal. I didn't demeanor anybody. If you took it like that, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. I have a right to speak, and you have a right to base an opinion. I brought numbers up and I asked, okay, what's going on with that? I have a right to ask. Or do I not?
You were given the right, yes.
Yeah.
You were given the right.
Yeah. So, are we supposed to be interacting, conversating back and forth to the board Amy, is that what we're supposed to be doing right now? So I live on 708 South Baxter, here in Prima. I was raised here. I'm a pastor now, try my best. I know nobody's perfect. The frustration was what we came in here with. The numbers that we brought up was, okay, you have money for that. How about my kids? How about those kids? That's the frustration. Don't take it personal. If you take these things personal, you're in the wrong position. You shouldn't. I get attacked every single day, the position that I am. I've learned to have thick skin because of the position that I have. Protocol, like y'all said. Have to keep quiet. The issue was this, the numbers are high. My kid's still without a teacher to be educated. Ms. Claudine Garcia, she's been real good about talking with us, the teachers. Ms. Jaramillo, if you're here, thank you. Done a great job to interact. My son needs that. We wanted open campuses for a reason. I want to be with my son. Let me tell you about my son. He's a crack baby. I adopted that boy when he was 4 months old. I made it a point to provide him the best life that he could. And he was in the school, and he wasn't provided the education that he needed. They were understaffed, but y'all were staffing up in other places, but in that room, they were in the staff. Kids were having outbursts. My son that's not what he does. He's an analyzer. He sits there and looks, keeps quiet. He tries to help. Randy, you know that he tries to help. He tries to be that person. He's not there judging anybody. We're not here judging anybody. It's a frustration. If we're doing all other things, let's educate these kids too. They have a right to learn too. They have a right to learn. That's all we're asking. Place some money in there. Take some money away from these things, these activities that are entertaining, and let's put them on the kids. Let's put them on these kids. That's all we're asking. Don't take it personal. Y'all are being loud. Y'all are pointing fingers. We had been talking to these people personally.
A long time.
I need to interact with my son. That's another thing y'all need to think about, these campuses being open. I need to be in my son's life at school. You're not their parents. I'm their parents. My kid's parents. I don't need you to raise my child while he's at school. I need to be with him. He needs me to be there, my wife to be there, because of the disabilities that he has. I'm not asking for much, guys.
Thank you, Mr.
Please
Pettis.
don't be offended. Let's
Thank
be
you.
professional about it, all right?
Mr. Rios, item 2A is an action item. It's approval of minutes from September 13th, 2021. We recommend approving the minutes as presented. Page 4.
We need a motion for agenda item the 2A. Can I get a motion? Deborah has seconded. All those in favor say yay. Yay. All those against say nay. Agenda item 2A has passed.
Mr. President, members of the board, this is also an action item 3.8, discussion and possible action to establish a school health advisory council, SHAC, and appoint council members. There was a meeting scheduled after September 1st. I'm not exactly certain of the date, but it would have violated the new rules that the legislature had passed that went into effect September 1st, 2021. I should have been aware of that, but wasn't. The meeting wasn't held, and subsequently, I asked our council for direction. And if you look on page 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 of your agenda, it provides a legal opinion of the new statutes that regulates the SHAC and some direction with reorganizing the SHAC and moving forward. The Texas Education Code requires that every independent school district in Texas establish a school health advisory council, SHAC. The purpose of the SHAC is to assist the district in ensuring the local community values are reflected in the district's health education instruction. We have training scheduled with our attorney on October 25th, and at that time, bylaws will be considered and adopted. What I have done is making a recommendation to you that's been recommended to me that the SHAC committee members that were already in place be reappointed by you, and then when the SHAC committee establishes itself on October 25th, then they can have the opportunity to bring forth additional recommendations as they see fit. The SHAC members are the parent members, Clarissa Ortega, Annette Jaimillo, Carol Uribe, Christian Munoz, Kendra Hernandez, and Brandy Benavides, who, because of her position as a trustee, is a non-voting member. A staff membership is Michelle Cantu, Lily Rodriguez, Paul Rodriguez, and Christina Lopez. Again, the SHAC committee now has to follow Open Meetings Act legislation, meaning that the meeting that will be held on October 24th will have to be posted. Minutes will have to be taken. Very, very similar to what oversight is with you. But tonight, so that we can get started and have our training and then move forward so that we can meet the required meetings, I'm making that recommendation for SHAC membership. Questions, comments?
May I speak? Just very briefly. Something very important to know about it is that it has to be comprised of more parents who are not employed by the school than parents who are employed by the school. And presently, that's not the case.
Mr. President, according to our attorney,
I talked to the school health advisory in Austin.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members of the committee. Clarissa Ortega does not work for Fremont ISD. She works for Communities and Schools. Annette Jaimillo does not work for Fremont ISD. She works for Chartwells. And I think that's the only two. The other members, Michelle Cantu.
Kendra's not, doesn't work.
Kendra doesn't work for Fremont ISD. The people who do work for Fremont ISD, 40% of this committee is Michelle Cantu, Lily Rodriguez, Paul Rodriguez, and Christina Lopez. I specifically asked for an interpretation from the attorney, and that's what I was given.
So you got legal guidance? I think that's sufficient.
Yes, sir, I did.
any questions? Brandy? Devin? Joanne? Nyla? If we don't have any questions, we need a motion for agenda item 3A.
Mr. President, I make a motion, as per the recommendation of the administration, for establishing a school health advisory committee and appointing the council members for 2021-2022 school year as presented.
Fred's made a motion, do we have a second? Deborah has second. All those in favor say yea. Yea. All those against say nay. Brandy has, asked.
Yes, I'm gonna abstain from it.
Okay. Agenda item 3A has passed unanimously.
Mr. President, members of the board, we will pull agenda 3B. I was expecting a vetting of the Rural Schools Innovation Zone performance contract and did not get it back. So we will move to item 3C. This is also an action item to approve a position of assistant principal. In executive session, we're gonna talk about security issues, but this is